Feel free to fire away, Freddy.
Freddy, obviously not the result that you guys wanted. What were the lessons that you guys learned from this trip, and what are some of the things that you look at that Mexican side and say this is the type of thing that we want to replicate to find success here?
Yeah, first, it's the same message that we gave the guys. As competitors, you're disappointed, right? You always play to win. But when you sit back and then take a look at the tournament, the preseason, the tournament, I thought there was some really good games that we had in there on the road, in the Antigua especially, coming back, giving Cruz Azul a really good game here. Throughout that process or the lead into this last game, you know, we used a big portion of the roster, which then also gets you thinking the depth of the roster is something that's going to be very good for us throughout the year. And then things that you learn from Mexican sides, it's, you know, very similar to any time you play in these international experiences. It's every game's a battle, and every game you got to try to be at your best, and that's the only way of giving yourself a chance. And we met up against a team that was really good. We probably didn't have our best night that night, and we just move on. And again, the message to the guys is we're 4 games more than the other teams in MLS, so that's beneficial for us. And having some quality games early in the season is also very beneficial to push us forward.
Do you think there is a bit of a disadvantage though for our sides, knowing that we just started the season, we've traveled quite a bit? I mean, if you add up all the miles that we've traveled just to get to this point, in the infancy stage of which the season is at, do you feel that we need to do a better job to either come into preseason a little earlier or to prepare differently?
Yeah, I mean, I you know, we won it when it was the same situation, so it'd be hard for me to say yes, it's a disadvantage. Calendars are tough to get put together where it benefits everyone. So I thought we had a really good preseason. I thought the guys, you know, we prepped them well. Again, we used a big part of the roster, the majority of the roster in these 7 games leading into that game, if I have my math right. And again, you just learn from it. Maybe we, as staff, you got to look at it and take a look, like, could we have done anything different tactically? It always starts there first, ourselves, and then, you know, how we can improve the guys and keep them fresh, so that, because we know it's hard. Anytime you go into altitude, and that's a different altitude than Salt Lake, it's a different altitude than Antigua, both good preparations for it, but still, it's never the same. It's also, you know, a different stage where there's maybe the emotional side of it, like this game, you know, maybe we didn't benefit from the home game. You know, maybe we go in 1-0, it's different. I don't know, but that's something that we definitely will use as experience.
What have you been able?
Sorry.
Wondering if you might have any injury updates on Paul Arriola, Jordan Morris, Pedro.
Yeah, Schmetz will talk about that tomorrow.
What have you been able to identify in terms of what went wrong that made the team look as disjointed and sloppy on both building out and possession as they did in that game?
It's Nico, that's a hard one, right? You finish the game, you're just like, what, you know? So you got to watch the game, you got to, you know, see, you know, have conversations here and there with players, as a staff. It's always, that's the hard one to get, because we've played that game before in a championship, right? Like the away game on the road with a bigger fan base. So I don't know, it's hard. Every game is different. We'll try to identify that and hopefully learn from it. That's really all you can do as a group.
How does this simplify things going forward, though, assuming that is one benefit?
Yeah, all of a sudden it takes a little bit of congestion out, so in that case, maybe it simplifies a little bit. But as competitors and you guys being with the media, knowing that every time we play in a tournament, you want to win, you want to get as far as you possibly can. And, you know, we gave it a good try. And yes, now you flip the script and now start thinking MLS, that's the focus. And so in that case, it simplifies where maybe the next few weeks we get to train the group and really get everything we want across done on the pitch. Whereas a lot of these games, it was a recovery similar to what you saw today, very low training, and you're having to explain things through a walkthrough or through a video. That's never the case, exactly the same as actually going full throttle on the pitch.
Having
A couple more for Freddy, guys.
hindsight 2020, and in terms of learning for the future, now that you look at the 2-game series, does it feel like there was maybe an opportunity to risk more in that first leg when Cruz Azul didn't have all their pieces, had 6 players out for that particular game, or that's not just what you guys are focusing on?
Yeah, I don't buy the whole. In a way, it's a little disrespectful for the Cruz Azul because it's a big squad. They spent a lot of money on that squad. Bravo was a starter at LAFC, you know, so it was a good squad. you know, and it's like us when we mix some guys in for LAFC game. We knew that group could give us a quality game because we saw it in preseason, and I bet that's exactly what the coach thought. He put a good squad. We created, clearly, I think we can all agree, 3 really good chances that maybe you go in, score one of those, you go in just a different situation, maybe a little more pressure on Cruz Azul. So could we have created more chances? Absolutely. Maybe in the first half, we could have been maybe a little more aggressive. It's 2 teams kind of filling out each other, 2 quality teams. It's never that easy. You guys saw Champions League games yesterday and the day before. But then second half, I thought we created, and unfortunately, you don't score that goal. Now you go in with a different pressure on the road.
How do you feel like
Last one for Freddy, guys.
How do you guys plan on regrouping, as you look ahead to St. Louis on Saturday?
These guys are pros. They've been in so many games. They understand. It's MLS now. It's St. Louis. You know, it's these seasons are long. It's going to be tough. Every game's going to be tough, but it's the focus on here. That's what we trained on, and then you'll start sprinkling some different tournaments later on in the year. But now it's let's get our week done with good training throughout these weeks. After this St. Louis game, we'll finally have some time to work with the guys, and I think the guys will be prepared.
Anything you're, looking at specifically as you look ahead to the specific team?
They're dropping a little bit more than they were in the last 2 years. Their initial 2 years where they were really kind of the Red Bull mentality and really pressing really high, trying to press the whole game. Now they're kind of absorbing a little bit more pressure, but still hitting you on the counterattack. Still have the great goalie with good distribution. It's going to be a tough game, but you know what? We've always had a pretty good mentality going into St. Louis, and we look to carry that experience onto this game.
All right, thank you, guys.
Cool.